Welcome to Take Two, the show we do every day after the 9 here on Fox Local and on KTVU.com, also on YouTube. Andre's here with me, and we have been talking, Andre, today a lot about the tsunami. I first heard about it last night I was watching a national news program, and I immediately switched back to all the local channels and ours, and I wanted to see what everyone was doing, and of course it was blowing up, not literally, but yeah.
There were people, Marcus Ayers there in Maui. We have family members of people that we work with that are there right now as well, so it was covering it was definitely interesting because you had family members that you were concerned about while you were there.
Are you a news junkie? Sometimes when something like this happens, do you like go to it? If you hear about it, like you open up and so I start watching not only our station but
going online and checking out
I have a buddy who works in weather in Honolulu, so I went to see what he was doing. I texted him, and
and someone having been to a couple of the Hawaiian Islands, I was particularly interested in how it was affecting them as well. And of course here, I remember covering the tsunami warning that we had back, I forget if it's an advisory warning back in December of this year as well. And on top of that, the other thing that struck me, we talk about the tsunami warning and we see the pictures coming out of there, is the fact that this is one of the biggest earthquakes ever recorded. Off the eastern coast of 8.8. We had the one in 2011, a 9.0 in Japan, and we saw the damage that caused back then. So you have these two issues here that are playing a role. You have this tsunami and this earthquake, two things you have to think about because we live in that area where both of these things happen.
I want to let the control room know that James Torres said he would be zooming in with us. I'm not sure if he has or not, but we have him. All right, so let's bring James in to talk to Andre and myself about the coverage he was doing. James, you're driving back. Thank you for joining us. What did you see out there? You said at one point it looked pretty quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. We made pit stops in Santa Cruz and in Monterey, about 35 minutes away from each other. And pretty much the same story in each space. You had people who were worried, I wouldn't say panicking, but certainly taking things as a precaution, I think, as you normally would. And Andre, you mentioned it, what happened in 2011 had a lot of people thinking because at that time, specifically in Santa Cruz, you had tidal waves coming in and just destroying some of the docks, destroying some of the boats, causing about $20 million worth of damage to just the harbor alone. So people are hearing tsunami advisory once again and are thinking, I don't want to go through that again. So some are pulling boats, some are making sure that things are in better position. But it didn't seem like anyone was actually panicking or super overly concerned. Everyone just wanted to make sure that everything was in a good spot.
James, I wondered, was there any visual appearances of an increase in the water level there where you were live just a short time ago?
Yeah, it's something I'm going to include in my my 12 o'clock noon story if you watch that. The National Weather Service had this time-lapse video overnight from, I think, Pillar Point in Half Moon Bay, and I think it was over a span of, I want to say it was a couple of hours, might have been a lot shorter than that. The video itself, of course, only about 10 seconds. But it shows the boats kind of hopping up and down, the water levels changing a little bit. So we had the idea that we should maybe do that down in Monterey, and we did. We shot the water in the harbor for about 20-25 minutes, reduced it down to about 13 seconds, and you see pretty much the same thing. The boats going up and down, water levels rising and shifting. When you would look right at the water of the harbor, you would see it flowing one way and then immediately change directions to another way. And we had a bunch of birds. I joked about this at the time. We had a bunch of birds that were flying around that would just randomly start making all of these noises. They just start freaking out. And then they would stop and then go away. And then a couple minutes later, start freaking out again. Had to Google it, and sure enough, it is very much a thing that birds feel these P waves, these waves that that animals can feel that humans can't before the actual quote-unquote tsunami actually strikes, or those seismic waves actually come through. So I wish I'd known that better at the time, because that was something that was our cue to start looking out for something. So definitely, and we heard it from these interviews, these experts that we talked to, 7, 8, and 9 a.m., all saying this is an event that is far from over. It's going to last for several hours longer. This advisory will still be in place for several more hours, and we are still seeing some tsunami activity. It's not at all going to cause any damage. It's not at all going to, I think, be the same thing that we saw back in 2011 where boats are going to be knocking into each other. It seems like it's just going to be something where you're like, stay off your boats, stay off the water, because the conditions and currents that can be created from this kind of tsunami activity can be really, really dangerous.
You know, even back in 2011, when it did cause that significant damage, it was limited to the coast and to the docks, and people who are, Alameda or other low-lying areas didn't really experience it. People in Santa Cruz obviously were affected, but even in 2011, it didn't really hit more than the coast. So I'm wondering how big of an earthquake it would need to be before it actually had more damage than we had in 2011.
Well, it's possibly the distance, too. I mean, the distance from where this earthquake struck, the epicenter of where this struck, to here is 3,800 miles. I'm not sure if that plays into it in Japan, and it was obviously close to Japan, which is probably about a similar distance from our area. And you're talking about one of the more powerful earthquakes ever recorded, yet we didn't have anything significant per se in the Bay Area itself, but it did trigger that warning. Here and down all the way along our coast down to South America. Right. South America, some countries, Chile, they issued tsunami warnings for their areas as well. So, I don't know what the distance is, but I did speak to an expert earlier with NOAA, and she said these things, they travel hundreds of miles an hour, these tsunami waves, right. And they travel long distances across the ocean. But the one thing that is interesting, I found interesting, is, and when I was covering the tsunami warning back in December, is that we were warning people to stay away from the water, but yet when Skyfox flew over, we had a lot of people gathering on Ocean Beach, and it should be noted that these waves don't look anything like what you see in the movies.
Right.
It's not like this massive curled wave that
Right.
So, if you're going out there looking for it, A, it's dangerous, and B, it doesn't look anything like what you see in the movie. That's
James,
Hollywood.
did you see anyone coming out to check it out?
No, in fact, there was some road closure signs in place in Monterey that I think was meant to try to prevent people from driving to the harbor or driving to the beach. I will say, to your point about what it would take to see some activity in the actual bay, proximity certainly has a lot to do with it, how far away the epicenter is and how strong it is. Back when we had that earthquake in Eureka, I think that was the last time that we had a tsunami watch. I want to say it was. The National Weather Service immediately put out those warnings and those advisories on the coast before they actually knew where it would materialize. And there was this idea that the epicenter just off of Eureka, I want to say it was like 40 or 50 miles off of Eureka, pretty close to the coast, that was expected to generate some sort of activity in the actual San Francisco Bay, and it was going to be about an hour or two later. The wave never materialized, so it never actually happened, but there was a prediction there that we would have seen some activity in the bay.
Yeah, that never did happen. That was a pretty powerful quake, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the magnitude of that trembler when it did hit, but yeah, it still bears something that we should keep in mind. And one of the other things that the woman with NOAA told me earlier is every city. The city manager has, they've documented where tsunamis would affect your area the most if you live along the coast. You can go to them and get that data so you know the impact that you would face wherever your house may be sitting. And, I would encourage everyone to do that. I mean, it's just better to know what's going to happen in your area versus having it surprise you later on.
All right, James, we're going to cut you loose. I know you're coming back to you mentioned you're going to do a story at noon. As a quick side note, isn't it cool that you can just sit in your car and join us on Zoom as you drive back? I'm still pretty.
He's not driving, but he's
Yeah,
driving.
well, you're not driving.
2025 technology
Yes.
is incredible.
It is great.
There you go. Thank you. That's James Torres. We'll see you on noon. Thank you, James. And Take Two will continue in just after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Take Two. Sal Castaneda along with Andre Sr. And we are talking about the news of the day. Of course, we've been talking about the tsunami. But also today, we asked a question because AI, and we were talking about this at the end of the show, AI is in every single newscast. For a while back in 2006, it was the recession. Then in the 2020, it was COVID-19. Every single thing, every single time we open a newscast or whatever. And now AI has come that. Right?
Yeah, it has, and I was yesterday we had an interview with the head of a management company that manages apartment units in San Francisco, and they're seeing in certain neighborhoods where the competition to get an apartment is huge. You have to compete against 10 people to get one apartment, and the reason that the head of this company that manages these apartment units in San Francisco said this was an issue was because AI companies are moving into the city, and so these big AI companies are gathering office space, and the people that work at these companies now
have to live somewhere.
Have to live somewhere, and they want the best.
So is this another tech boom for San Francisco?
It is, yeah. I mean, that's according to what this person is saying. This person manages residential apartment units, not necessarily, but they're noticing this uptick in trend and the competition being so stiff for certain apartments because as they're looking into this, they're seeing that these companies are gathering and leasing office space, AI companies.
Well, there are two sides to this story. Some people would say, uh-oh, you're going to price some people out.
Yeah,
it's kind of bad. I grew up in San Francisco, and there were cheap apartments when I was a young man, right?
There's
no such thing right now.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is you're bringing businesses to San Francisco, and they are employing people, and those people are spending money here.
Yeah.
Our economy is doing well.
It is, but the price of these jobs that are coming here are far outpacing, just regular non-tech jobs, if you will.
Right. So where is the school teacher? Where is the firefighter? Where are the ordinary people who are not in tech going to live if they can't afford to live in a normal apartment?
You did a story 5 years ago on supercommuters.
Right.
People that were taking the train. I remember many
Andre,
years ago coming in. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Coming in, taking the train, coming in from far out areas.
Yeah, I spoke to people coming
to the
Tracy,
city. Yeah. And that's what people are doing. I mean, that's what I've noticed. You know, you talk to people that used to live out this way.
And it was kind of put on pause for the pandemic, where people were allowed to work from home.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, as we've come back,
well, companies are like requiring and incentivizing people to come back to work, and that's going to, you know, that's also going to have an effect on the market as well.
It might have an effect, as Daniel Lurie wants more people to, you know, be downtown and have vibrant streets again. I'm wondering if these AI companies will help have that, right? And I look at some of the comments here. So we'll look at some of the comments.
Yeah,
actually, that's too small for my eyes right now.
It's too small for mine, too.
I'm going to have to dial up YouTube on my... let's talk about AI in the way of school, because we did a question of the day where we asked, should students be allowed to use AI? And most people said no, it stops learning.
There it is.
It's a learning crutch. 70% say, no, you should learn how to do, for example, do it the old-fashioned way, even if when you get to your workplace, they're doing it with AI. At the very least, you know how to do it, so you know the theory behind it. Only with limitations, some, and 10% absolutely. And it might be that the people who are saying absolutely are given the fact that, okay, look, these kids need to learn how to use it. This is the wave of the future. And if we're not teaching them that, we're doing a disservice.
Well, yes, there is one, you know, there's one avenue where you teach a child to learn these things. You teach them how to understand it. But AI is being put out there without really any direction, right? If I get a coffee maker, it comes with an instruction book. AI does not come with that. It just you just log in.
You have to learn how to. You have to know how to read. Yeah.
And you just start messing with it, and like, oh, it can do this and it can do that. It doesn't come with that instruction book that every other thing that you order from Amazon comes with. Right? You know, it tells you exactly what to do. So people just use it for whatever. And I might also add, separate from school here, you know, people are using this in offices to analyze documents and paperwork to speed up their work, you know, so they don't have to spend as much time.
So check this out. I did, after I wrote my zip trip package for San Bruno, or no, it was Lafayette, one of them, Pleasant Hill. I wrote it and I turned it in. And then for fun, I went on to AI and I asked, write me a package of, you know, and I gave it some key data points, and it wrote, it was okay. It was like a, it was kind of like a small market sounding thing with very cliche TV terms.
Right? See, that's the thing you have to look out for.
Right.
It'll just pull from these cliches and put it in.
Yeah, it did a lot of cliches. Like it sounded like every single package ever written, right? But it did it.
It did it anyway.
It did it, right? So I would never write it that way. I want to be more sophisticated, but I mean, maybe AI will, you know. So it was kind of, it was cool and scary.
It was cool to check, to see how it worked, for sure.
When we come back, I'm going to be actually logging into YouTube so I can see those comments, because they're very small on my screen anyway. And we're going to be talking about beer when Take Two continues. Welcome back to Take Two. I've invited the beer guys to stay with us a little longer. Dave McLean and Sean O'Sullivan from 21st Amendment. Dave founded Magnolia. Where are you with now?
I'm starting a new brewery called Hidden Splendor.
Hidden Splendor. Well, I like your beer originally, so you know what you're doing. You guys are involved in Beer Lands, which is at Outside Lands.
Yeah.
So people can go to Outside Lands, listen to music, but then take a little stop at the Beer Oasis. Did you call it a Beer Oasis?
I probably did.
Yeah. So Andre, I've known this gentleman since he had blonde hair and I had black hair. we go way back. What is Andre drinking?
Yeah, what is this?
You've got the Hell or High watermelon wheat beer. It's our summer seasonal. It's an American wheat beer brewed with real watermelon juice, and it's like a juggernaut for us. It first was brewed by my business partner in his in Oak Street in San Francisco in the Panhandle back in like 1998. We started brewing at our pub in 2001, and it's just been a huge hit ever since then.
This is good. This is good beer. So tell us a little bit about Beer Lands.
Well, Beer Lands.
I can jump in?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I've been curating Beer Lands for, I guess, 12 or 14 years now, and so really it's fallen on me to try to pull together a snapshot of what's going on in the Bay Area beer scene and try to present that in the festival environment.
Yeah, and so what does it look like? And so you've been doing it for 14 years at Outside Lands?
At Outside Lands, yeah. 13 or 14, I lose count. Yeah. It's just it's a big beer garden in the middle of the polo field, which is where the main stage is. It's at the back of the polo field. We have over 20 breweries. Each brewery sends 2 beers, so we have Sean's beers. These 2 beers will be there.
Yeah.
And over 40 other beers. Together, the idea is that there's something for everyone. So whether it's an imperial stout or a light lager or anything in between.
I could taste that hint of watermelon in this one.
It's not a Jolly Rancher. It's super crisp. It's clean. It's refreshing.
You go. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. It's just perfect. You know
that they have a place that I haven't been to. I'm an East Bay resident now. I grew up in San Francisco. Went to the Giants games a lot. Stopped by 21st Amendment, but now you're San Leandro.
Yeah, we have our big production brewery in San Leandro in the old Kellogg factory.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, exactly. So you're having an event this weekend.
Yeah, we are. It's August 2nd, Saturday from 12 to 8. It's August Fest. We do this every year, but this year is important because it's our 25th anniversary. So we're celebrating with a bunch of collaborations, which brewers like to do. So we've got collaborations with Magnolia, with Headlands, with Fieldwork, as well as collaborators outside the beer space with Humphrey Slocum. I did a ice cream inspired beer.
Really?
Then
Dave, are you going to be there? Or?
I'm gonna try.
Magnolia's part of it, right?
I've moved on from there, but it's still you got a special place in my heart.
It's in your DNA. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, since you've been curating Beer Lands, have you seen a definite from year 1 to this year? You said 14 years, right?
Approximately.
If I went to year 1 and now coming to year 14, there are definite differences in what people like?
Yeah, differences in what people like and in what people are brewing. So like that's kind of been the interesting thing as I reach out to the brewers every year to talk about who's got what and what's available. You see the trends come and go, right? So in the early days it was a lot of amber ales and red ales, things like that, and then then came the really big assertive hoppy IPAs, and then came the hazy IPAs, and now we're in a kind of a little bit of a lager boom. So start talking to brewers now this year and last year especially. Everybody wants to send their lagers.
What influences the trends that come up in beer making?
I mean, I think it's like, it's like anything. Everything is cyclical. So lagers were one time really, was something that people were drinking a lot of, industrial strength lagers from large breweries. And then the craft beer movement kind of jumped on like these like English traditional styles like IPAs, ESBs, and whatnot. And so I think it's kind of come full circle in some ways. But I think American craft brewers are doing it a little bit better than the big breweries because we're using, amazing malt, especially from like Admiral Malting, which is a local malt house here in Alameda. And also just having more fun with the style, and people are captivated by it. They're also easier to drink. They're more accessible, and there's something to be said about all of that, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it okay to mix beers? I really like not mix them in a glass.
Now I want to know why you laughed.
But if I started with, let's say, an IPA, but then I said, I can't continue this. I can't have 5 IPAs.
Yeah.
Can I have 1 IPA? Is that frowned upon then to go from that to a lager? Is that frowned upon?
No, I mean, I think the spirit of curiosity and discovery is a big part of the craft beer scene. And I think most customers that come into our places tend to, jump around. They rarely drink the same beer twice, unless it's something they really like. So I think it's fine. I think you just, sometimes, a really hoppy, assertive beer can kind of crush your palate and make the next beer harder to taste.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
You kind of want to go up the ladder.
Up the
you always
ladder,
want to start lighter, Pilsner, like a lighter beer, and then want to climb it up to your, the double IPAs and the stouts of the world.
Do you guys offer like a flight, and you say go this way, go left to right in the flight, or
there's something to be said about that. Yeah, absolutely. You always like encourage people to sort of like start with something that's more accessible because your palate will get blown out.
I mean, that's strong when it hits you're like, oh my gosh,
like
you just can't really recover from it right away.
Yeah, but it's a great experience guiding people through their tasting journey like that. It's a big part of what that connection is that you have with guests. At the place.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Dave McLean, I'm looking forward to. I might go to Outside Lands. Forget the bands.
I will see you at Beerlands. Yeah.
I always like to come by your shop, 21st Amendment. Then one of my first. Not only is the beer there good, but I personally like all the food that they have there. I have to come to your San Leandro location.
Yeah, come this Saturday.
Heller High Watermelon is fantastic.
It's nice.
If you someone that is not a beer drinker, just introduce them to this. I think
they'll like it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, that'll do it for Take Two today. Thank you for joining us. We do this every day after the 9 here on KTVU on Fox Local.